Hello, friends. Oh my goodness, it's been a while. I'm so sorry. And as you can see by the quality of my video, I've had to go back to my old camera. So hopefully, eventually that can change again. But for now, it is fine. So I'm here to talk about some books, some things I've been reading, some things I stopped reading. Um, Wonderful array. So let's start with things that I have read. I have recently read uh, Tim Tebow's This Is the Day, which is a book about getting out there, going for it, for the kingdom of heaven, right? Living for the Lord, being strong and confident, showing love to everybody without fear of, what could happen, right? I really enjoyed it. He's a very good writer. I totally intend to read more of his books in the future. Um, and yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed it. Highly recommend it. I also finished Lee Strobel's Seeing the Supernatural, which was probably my top tier favorite book of recent times. It goes into such interesting concepts as angels, demons, near death experiences, deathbed experiences, paranormal, supernatural happenings, miracles, things like that. Just like it was really eye opening and just had me like, wow, we really do live in there's a supernatural realm, you know what I mean? And we need to be aware of that and how just cool that is. It's just cool. So anyway, I really enjoyed that. Highly recommend. Like I said, I got it from my library to read, but I fully intend to buy it at some point when I can buy it. But absolutely fantastic. And now in the fiction realm, I read the book two of the Selection series, which is called The Elite, and I didn't like it at all, friends. I liked the first one, which is called The Selection, because it was very reminiscent of kind of dystopian and silly, goofy, nostalgic fantasy. Okay, like early 2010s kind of stuff. So I was like, you know what, this is kind of delightful. But then Aspen. Okay, so it starts with this girl named America, and she gets picked to be in the Selection, which is, this future king. He's a prince right now. His name's Max, and he needs to pick his girl. Okay, this is how they do it. They do a bachelor situation, get a bunch of eligible ladies up in this piece, even though they're all teenagers, so it's kind of weird. But anyway, get them up in here, and he just gets to know them, whatever. He falls in love with America pretty quickly, of course, because she's different. She's not like other girls, and so he falls in love with her, and he's like ready to commit, and she's like not there, and she tells him because she was in love with this other guy back home named Aspen, but he broke up with her prior to her coming here. So she still has feelings, and he's like, I get it, take your time, just let me know, because you're the girl for me. If your feelings will change towards me. And she's like, okay. And then her feelings do change, and she realizes she really likes Max. And then at the end of the book, guess who shows back up? His name is Aspen. He shows up as part of the guard, and how annoying is that? Plus, he like makes out with her as soon as he shows up, and I was just like, ew, ew, ew. Okay, this is disgusting. It's disgusting. And anyway, so I didn't have high hopes for the Elite because of the fact that Aspen was back in the story. What made the first one bearable was that he wasn't there. I don't like Aspen, and I stand by that. But essentially, all the second book was, now other things did happen, but essentially, it was just America being a goldfish brain when it came to anything Maxon told her, because he was like, "Listen, I'm loyal to you. I will literally propose right now if you can promise me your heart." And she's like, well, yeah, I love you. Well, I don't think she said love, but at some point I think she did. But she's like, well, yeah, I mean, I feel the same way, blah blah blah. But I just, and then he's like, okay, I'll relax, but yeah, I will commit to you. And she's like, okay. But then the minute she sees him talking to another girl, she's like, oh my gosh, he doesn't love me, but I love him, and I'm so affected by the fact that he's talking to another girl. And I'm like, honey, first of all, he doesn't know if you're interested. You're making it very clear that you're kind of not in. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, he's going to talk to the other girls because he needs to find himself a wife, I guess. It's very urgent business, okay? And some of the other girls are in it to win it. You know what I'm saying? So I was just so annoyed by her behavior. And like whenever she felt like Maxon didn't care about her, she fell right back into Aspen's arms. And then the minute like she felt Maxon did care about her, she was like, "Oh, I don't think I care about Aspen anymore." And I'm just like, what do you want? What do you want? You want your cake and eat it too? You can't have it. And it just the whole time it felt like she was cheating, even though she technically wasn't dating either of them, but she also is dating both of them in a way. I hated it. I straight up hated it. I gave it 2 stars. I don't know why I gave it 2 stars. I don't know what was redeeming about it to me at the time. It must have been something. I mean, I guess it was kind of funny. I like Maxon. I don't know. I can't remember. I gave it 2 stars, which is still a bad rating for me. I guess I saved 1 stars for the ones that like are atrocious. Okay. It was pretty close, but it wasn't there. Um, if my library has the audiobook for The One, which is the third book in the selection, I know there's other books in the selection series. How? Who was reading these and being like, yes, we need more of the selection? I'm sure girls were. If I was 14, I'd probably be like, oh my gosh, her choice. But like, no, I hate it so much. But I do kind of I just want to see what happens. I think I can kind of gauge what's going to happen, but I also want to see what happens. Also, her and Aspen are so dumb because, like, you could get, like, executed or something for, like, being, like, being in love with, like, another person while you're in the selection. And, because, like, one girl almost, and the man that she was flirting with almost do get executed, okay? But instead they just got, like, a beating and then, like, let off or whatever. But they all, anyway, no good. So 2 stars. There was 2 5-star nonfictions, a 2-star fiction, and then I recently DNF'd this one as well. I Am Number 4. I really wanted to finish it. It was one of my 26 and 2026, but I literally was so bored. I think I got 70 pages in. I know 70 pages is not a lot, but the lore wasn't interesting to me. The characters weren't interesting to me, and I was over it. So I'm probably gonna donate it back to my library for the library sale. That's where I got this from, so I'll just donate it back and somebody else can have it. I'm just not, I have no interest. If I ever suddenly feel like I have to read I Am Number 4, I can go find it at my library. I do not need to own it. I'm not gonna read it. I have other books that I'm far more interested in reading. And this one just feels very flat. I don't know why. I remember liking the movie, and which is why I wanted to read the book. And maybe I would still like the movie if I watched it again. I haven't seen it since whenever it came out. But it's not for me. I'm bored. I'm bored. Oh, I also finished Stay With Me by Becky Wade, which Becky Wade is an incredibly talented author. I was very impressed with her writing, and I love the way she wrote the characters, love the way she wrote their backstories. It was very engaging, very easy to get into. I gave the book 3 stars just because I'm not a romance girly, and I thought maybe Becky Wade would be the one that would get me like over the hump of not liking romance books, but she didn't. Because once it's like kind of annoying once you get to like once Jen and Sam, the characters of the story, got to the point where they were kissy with each other, like they were like nonstop kissy with each other. And I know it's a Christian fiction, so of course it was clean. It was just kissing, and it wasn't like overly described or anything like that. But like it was just like uh guys, you're kissing alone in your house. Like that feels like a temptation station situation. Okay. And so it made me uncomfortable. It just made me uncomfortable. Um but it was a good story, I think. But I just for me, I think romance can never be like the highlight of a story. It's a part of a story, but it's like being the highlight just makes me like cringe. I'm just like, this is annoying and weird and whatever. And like a romantasy I can get behind a little bit more, but this was like too much for me. There's like nothing else going on. I mean, but there were other things going on. And in fact, there was some really good faith content, and like Becky, like very talented, very talented. I'm just not a romance girly. And every time I try a new author thinking I'll be one this time, I'm wrong every time. So Maybe someday I'll be a romance girly. And I would love to honestly read more from Becky Wade because I think she's very talented. But I think I would rather borrow the books. I don't think my library has any Becky Wades, but maybe I can make a request or something and see if something happens there. But right now I am not. I am not. Okay, last but not least, really fun thing. You know how Goodreads has like giveaways that you can put in for free, like it's just you can just do that. Well, I won a giveaway, which is crazy. I won a giveaway for A Tangled Magic by Andrea Eames or Ames. I'm not really sure. This is an ARC. It's an advanced reader copy. I think this comes out. It says like end of July, 7/28 is what it says on here, which is funny because it also says August. I'm not sure. It says July on this side, August on this side. I don't know. But either way, so this is a Tangled Magic, which is a Rapunzel, a dark retelling of Rapunzel. Okay, that's how you do it. I have read about like 112 pages so far, which this is a very big and long book, unfortunately. But do I like it so far? Not really. No, I don't think it's really for me. I don't think dark retellings are for me. When it comes to Goodreads giveaways, I usually just put my name in for anything that sounds interesting, and Rapunzel is my favorite story, Tangled being one of my favorite movies. So I thought, well, why not? You know, that's kind of as far as it goes. Because if it's free, I'm not paying for it. Cool. But the story is a bit strange and it feels, I mean, obviously it's dark and it's, like we still have Rapunzel goes by a different name. She's Netta. I don't know what her full name is. I can't remember, but she goes by Netta and she I mean, essentially, the story starts out the same. In the beginning, the prologue is Mother Gothel, who also has a different name. I don't remember what it is, but we don't know where she got the baby from. We don't know where Netta's from, but she comes to this tower with this baby. She is a mage of some description. She makes spell books, and she has been in her tower making this like ginormous spell book, and with Rapunzel, and essentially they use pigeons to get supplies, and they really don't leave. So Rapunzel just has been in the tower. It's very similar. But she has no idea what the spell book is that Mother Gothel is making because she can't read. She's dyslexic, like letters don't make sense to her and all that stuff. So it's a mystery to her what the spell book is. But eventually, these two men break into their tower. Netta doesn't know what happened because she was hit on the head, so she doesn't remember what happened or where they came from. And when she wakes up, she is being captured by these guys. She ends up fighting her way out. Other weird thing is her hair is a character in the book. Her hair has its own sentience of some sort, which is so weird. And she also has a crow. There's like a few crows on the cover here. She has a crow named Baldbeak that accompanies her everywhere. And so she wakes up and these guys are like trying to break in, and she, with her hair's help, ninjas one guy out of the door or out of the tower window, and he dies, and she's traumatized by that a bit. The other guy gets away, and she doesn't know where Mother Gothel is. She's presumed to have been kidnapped. Also, her spell book is gone. In this world, also, from the bits and pieces that I've gotten, magic is something quite dangerous and devastating to the body. Being a magician or a mage is quite dangerous for you. So, when you use magic in this world from a spell book, which is how it is best controlled, I guess. That's how they do it nowadays. You're not supposed to use magic without a spell book. Um, you lose a part of yourself. You lose either your hair or your teeth or your nails. But I guess all those things can grow back. Which teeth? No, but somehow, yes. Maybe by magic, I don't know. Either way, but you have to give a part of yourself to be able to do some sort of spell. Okay. But there are some people who have affinities who do not have to lose part of themselves to do magic. We do find out that our girl here has affinities, but she doesn't, because she was raised hearing that those things were evil, she doesn't want any part of that and she doesn't believe it. She just you know, her embroidery is an affinity. Like she can embroider things and they're really, really, really beautiful. And, but it's magic and she doesn't want to believe that. And she can have telepathy with animals, which is also an affinity, but she doesn't want to believe that either. It's just something weird that happens. And she probably has something else because it's been alluded to, but she doesn't know what it is. So, but it's strange and I'm confused by the magic. So like, cause magic has to take from you. So magic sounds like it's a bit evil, or you shouldn't be doing it. It, at least the spell book kind, I suppose. But also there was mention of something called a bone mage, and a bone mage was a person. They don't, I guess they don't exist anymore. But what happened was a bone mage, well, okay, bone mages in general, not the one, but in general, what they do is they can do a lot bigger magic, but it takes from their bones. It takes from like the marrow, or they lose a bone, or they break a bone, or something. I don't know, but you lose bones. Okay, bones. It just cracks me up, but it's not funny. It's creepy. But they can do a lot bigger magic, and I guess their magic was like really helpful to their society or something because it was bigger. I don't know. It didn't really give me a description of what they were doing, but regardless, it sounds awful. But I guess one little bone mage found out that he could like use bones from dead people to do big magic. And also like I think it was implied that also somehow using other people's bones, like not dead people. Um don't understand. But anyway, so these bone mages started going crazy, digging up people and using other people's bones. And then that caused a plague to descend upon the people because it was like judgment for doing evil or something from something. I don't know. And then these guys that are called, there's like, they serve this entity called the One-Eyed God, and I think they call themselves the Temple with a capital T. And they end up like coming to save the day, and they brought order. They're the ones that said only magic can be used in spell books. You can't be taken from people's bones or anything else. You can't use magic if you're just thinking it or affinity in it. And so they kind of have control now over the world, and people have to align themselves with this once cult that became like became leadership. Um, and they seem kind of creepy, really creepy and really controlling. However, I also think stopping people from using other people's bones is a good thing. And nobody knows what happened to that bone guy, the bone mage guy that was using people's bones, the one that started this mess. Nobody knows what happened to that guy. So I'm a little sus that maybe this whole story has been like a fake story. Maybe it's all fake news. I don't know. That this cult used in order to make their religion the main religion of their continent or world or country or whatever it is. Um, but there is like also like another religious group called the Followers that don't seem to have any like anything that would make them, they seem more just like hippies that go for long walks. Like they don't seem like, because they are like, I guess they believe in other gods, but they are like, listen, we don't bother them and they don't bother us, which I'm like, huh? What? Like they don't pray, they don't do anything that would be religious in nature except for go for long walks. So, anyway, so that's the other like religious faction. So I don't love that this book is kind of like making religion out to appear very controlling or very useless. That's kind of lame. But it's very clear that the temple people were kind of a cult that just kind of came into power. So like that's different. I don't want to insinuate anything. I just think it's like, oh, that's kind of sad. Um, so anyway, and I will say, I think there is a Flynn Rider in this, but his name is Patrick, which is like, Patrick. Um, I guess it's not any worse than Eugene. All right, it's fine. But his name is Patrick, and he is an actual magician, meaning sleight of hand, not magic. Um, and he met her and kind of early in the story and helped her to find her way as she is on her way to try to figure out where Mother Gothel be at. Okay. And so he kind of led her to be like, hey, go with the followers to the city that you're going to because they'll protect you along the way. That's the other thing that the followers do. They keep people safe as they go on traveling trips. So that's nice. Um, I'm trying to think if there was anything else. So I'm assuming he's going to come back into the story because if he's not Flynn Rider, I'd be really surprised because he had a lot of Flynn energy to me. Not that this is necessarily like using from Tangled. He could, I don't know what the prince is like in the original Rapunzel. Okay, maybe whatever. But Patrick had that vibe. So I kind of hope he comes back because he was the one part of the story that I was like, I'm interested in this. Flynn Rider being my favorite man. But anyway, now so far I'm reading it. There is content in here I don't love. Like I said, I don't like the magic. I don't like the religious stuff. Just because it feels creepy, scary. I mean, this is a dark retelling. What am I surprised? No. I don't like, well, like the followers. Another weird thing about the followers is they, once you join the followers and you convert to their beliefs. I don't think they believe really anything, but you become a they them because like gender doesn't matter to them, and I'm just like, this is lame. So there's that, and then I mean, it's just like dark, creepy stuff. Like, well, not creepy, I guess. It's just kind of like like right now, Netta is staying with a girl who her job is like she runs an organization of women who like people give them stolen goods and they like make sure that like you file off the number on that thing, and so it's like it's not like super awful yet. I'm expecting the worst to come later, and if it does come later, I will DNF it because I am not the girly that is going to read something that is not for me to be reading. I don't want really scary stuff right now. It's creepy. If it gets worse than that, we're over. But I do think that the writing is well done. I think it's pretty basic. It's very YA, but there's nothing wrong with that. But I think she uses a lot of interesting flourishes, and I like so the beginning of every chapter has this like the because Rapunzel Netta is a embroiderer. It has different stitches and types of stitches, and it's like it's just I like that. I like she had like a really cool vision for this, and a really interesting vision for it. We'll see where it goes. I'm probably gonna give it like 100 more pages before I make a decision if I want to keep reading or not because it's like almost 500 pages, which is insane. I know it's a fantasy slash romantasy potentially, although I will say no romance is mentioned on here. It's mostly just I think Rapunzel against maybe the religious factions that are trying to control magic. Not sure. Not sure. But we will find out. And I will update you if I end up keeping it or not, or end up finishing it or not. If I don't finish it, I will donate it to a little free library because you can't sell ARCs. But maybe somebody else will enjoy it. I don't know. Either way, I have yapped for too long. So that is the giveaway. I hope that I get to win another giveaway with a book that is more my style. But I also like trying things that are different. Now, I really do feel like I want to read more books that are absolutely like Christian fiction. Like, because I really enjoy just that getting that faith content and just it's just truth. It's founded on truth. The people are never perfect, but it is grounded in truth, which is what I love. And even in like fantasy fiction, there's Christian fiction. Like I write fantasy Christian fiction. Now, that means that like yes, it is a fantasy world with its own like set of rules or whatever, but there's an all like it's kind of my style is a little bit more like Tolkien, where there is an ultimate higher power, an ultimate god over all of it, and these figures have to figure out what their destiny is, what has been planned for them, and that they cannot do it on their own. That is, I think, a huge factor that is missing from so much fantasy fiction or just fiction in general these days, secular fiction specifically, is it makes it all about the person. It's all about me. I can accomplish this, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to do this in my own strength. I can handle it, etc. We can't though. And thank God we don't have to. Praise the Lord. But like, I think for me, it's very important that I write stories where it's very clear that these characters could not overcome these things without divine intervention. And for my stories, I've taken some of them off of Amazon right now because I am reworking them. I just want to do the best that I can do, and make sure that the message that I'm trying to display is as clear as possible. But I think a lot of fantasy fiction that is Christian does that very well. I haven't read a ton yet. I really want to. There's some that I have on my wish list that I can't wait to get my hands on, from like J.L. Knight and so forth. Um, and Andrea Willingham or something. I can't remember. Oh gosh. Anyway, there's a lot of amazing Christian fiction authors. And so for me, like, as much as I enjoy just a fun fantasy story, like I love Megan Whalen Turner's The Thief series, which I will be talking to you about soon. I am doing a reread. It's one of my favorite books from as a teenager. I hope it still stands. It's been a while since I've read it through, but I think it will. So there is good secular fiction out there, but when it gets into like dark magic-y stuff, that's kind of where you lose me. And this feels that way, but I'm kind of hoping that for Netta or Rapunzel, that she ends up kind of having this magic that is maybe better or good, and it kind of can defeat this like evil bone hair stealing magic. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm just hoping for, like, even though it's a dark retelling, that there's going to be a positive outcome. So we'll see. And if not, if it feels like it's not going in that direction at all and it's just going to be awful, then I'm just going to DNF, because that's the beautiful thing about DNFing. And I really have been intense about my DNFing this year. I've DNF'd so many books this year because life is too short to read a book I don't care about. That's why I DNF'd I Am Number 4. I couldn't care less. It was just boring me. So anyway, I think that's it. I think that's all I'm going to yap about today. So, thank you guys so much for joining me. Remember that I love you, but Jesus loves you way more. Have you ever won a giveaway from Goodreads or anywhere? Have you won a free book and you were like, "Whoa." Have you read any of these books or anything? What books are you reading right now? Please let me know. I would love to hear it. Give me your suggestions down below for books that you think I would like to read. Do you know some Christian fantasy fiction that is like stellar? Please share. Thank you guys so much. Bye.